Hi, this is Jez Mukwena. Once more, let me just welcome you to my YouTube channel. Uh, just to make people feel a little bit comfortable. You will notice that I tend to be short. The purpose is that you don't have to speak for a long time on some of the videos. Some of them, the items are very complicated, but I just try to provide a summation of the concepts or of the topic that I'm trying to convey up to you. Second thing that I need to ask you to do me a favor and just click the subscribe button, which you can see just on your mobile phone or on your computer. Just subscribe, is very free, so you don't have to pay me anything or you don't have to pay anybody anything. It's just free of charge. So please, I'll appreciate that if you can click the subscribe button and subscribe to my channel. Thirdly, I'll also appreciate it if you can click on the like button, because then it allows YouTube to direct the traffic to my channel, also to be able to, for people to be able to actually get some of the topic that I discussed. Getting to the topic of today, I just want to focus on one thing, actually, to separate, to just try to make people to understand what is the first world and what is the third world, or rather just to try and dispel the myth that certain countries are a third world, or just the concept of third world itself. Number one, the concept of first, second, and third world arose out of the political environment that existed in the 40s, particularly during the Second World War. They had, during the Cold War, they had to divide countries on which superpower are you supporting. So during the Cold War, you had the first world countries like the United States of America, Britain, France, Germany, and so on. Those were regarded as the first world countries. And the second world countries were those countries that were, I would say, mostly aligned with the communist country at the time, the United States, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic, which is now Russia. So you had Russia there and its allies. Then on the third world, you had countries that were non-aligned. Mostly were countries that were poor. Countries such as Malawi, Nepal, Zimbabwe, etc. So those countries were regarded as third world countries. Now, if you look at the three categories, South Africa doesn't fit neatly into the category of a third world country. And many people, because of the infrastructure there, and remember in South Africa, 70% of the population of South Africa live in urban cities or urban centers. It doesn't live in rural areas. It's just only 30%, just a minority of South Africans live in rural areas. And to complicate matters worse, even those people that live in rural areas, you find them having houses in urban centers or in urban areas. So there is fluidity there in terms of the 70-30. So you can't say surely that 30% live in the urban centers. It will be safe to say 20% live in the villages or rural areas, because then you have people, the other 10%, which is so fluid. So I'll say 70% and 20 plus 10% of the population of South Africa live in urban and rural areas. Now, it is very nauseating, to say the least, to regard South Africa as a third world country. I mean, here is a country that is developed. In the whole of Africa, among the 54 African countries, South Africa, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of development, even in terms of the political system itself, it is the most advanced. I mean, I don't know any democratic country in Africa that is as more developed or more nuanced or more free like South Africa. I mean, you can take the constitution of South Africa. I mean, you go to Harvard. I was in Harvard the other day speaking to one law student, and he was saying they were studying the constitution of South Africa. And the lecturer was saying, this is the most advanced constitution in the world. They use it as an example, whether it's in the academic circles or even outside academic circles, just in the political circle. South African constitution is regarded as the most advanced constitution, most democratic, most liberal constitution, more than many other constitutions or countries. Now, in terms of democracy, South Africa gets a tick, you check. In terms of infrastructure, South Africa, check. Even in terms of the GDP, South Africa, check. Yes, there are problems in South Africa. I mean, problems such as crime, problem of such as institutions that were captured in the previous, I would say, under the previous president. You had institutions that were captured, but still the democratic institutions were able to allow themselves to cleanse themselves of these corrupt elements through established institutions and the press that is there that is freely operating in the country. So you have also the systems of checks and balances well established in the country. So South Africa is not a third world country. That is an insult to the people of South Africa to use the concept or the term third world country, because it's a developing country. I mean, it is even better to use the word developing country, because then it means it is a country in transition towards a developed country. That will be an appropriate concept to use. So people need to understand that the concept of third, first, and second is an old concept, or these are old terminologies that were used during the Cold War era. And we're no longer in the Cold War era at the moment. We are in a unipolar kind of world. So, I mean, we need to really begin to move with times. Those people that still want to hold on the old concept and try to transpose those old concepts to the new era are actually being left behind. They need to catch up. South Africa is not a third world country. South Africa is a developing country, and the infrastructure is top notch. It beats even many countries in the Latin America. There's no Latin American country that can match South Africa in terms of infrastructure and in terms of the institutions that are there, institutions that support democracy. So they are, I mean, you can't match it with any Latin American country. You also cannot match it with any of the so-called third world country. Can't even compare it. And there is no African country among the 54 countries in Africa. You can't compare South Africa with any country. So it is not. And this must really be in your skull, people. It must be in your head. You must really memorize it. Sleep knowing that South Africa is not a third world country. It's a developing country. Period. See you next time. This is Jess Mukweni. Bye.